A rural janitor dies with $8 million in the bank. A Harvard-educated Merrill Lynch executive goes bankrupt after building a mansion with 11 bathrooms. This is not a fluke of the lottery. It is the definitive proof that doing well with money has almost nothing to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you behave. We treat finance like physics, governed by cold rules and formulas. But in the real world, money is governed by ego, pride, and the unique stories we tell ourselves. To build wealth that lasts, you must stop treating your bank account like a math problem and start treating it like a psychological battle. Lesson 1. The Confounding Power of Time. Most people study Warren Buffett to learn how he picks stocks. They miss the most important fact of his career. More than $81 billion of his net worth came after his 65th birthday. Buffett is a phenomenal investor, but his secret is that he has been a phenomenal investor for 3/4 of a century. If he had started in his 30s and retired in his 60s, you would never have heard of him. Compounding is like a seasonal snowpack that grows into a continental ice sheet. It does not require tremendous force. It only requires that the growth, however little, lasts. The lesson: high returns are less important than pretty good returns that you can stick with for the longest period of time. Lesson 2. Wealth is what you do not see. We judge a person's financial success by the car they drive or the house they live in, because that is the only data we have. But the only thing you know about someone driving a $100,000 car is that they have $100,000 less than they did before they bought it. This is the man in the car paradox. When you see a Ferrari, you do not think the driver is cool. You imagine how cool people would think you are if you were the one driving it. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. Rich is a current income spent on display. Wealth is the income not spent, providing you with the highest dividend money pays. The ability to wake up and do whatever you want. The lesson: realize that your desire for respect and admiration will never be satisfied by expensive possessions, but by humility and kindness. Lesson 3. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Jesse Livermore was the greatest stock trader of his era. In one day during the 1929 crash, he made the equivalent of $3 billion. He felt invincible. But just 4 years later, he had lost everything and eventually took his own life. Getting money and keeping money are two different skills. Getting money requires taking risks and being optimistic. Keeping money requires the opposite. It requires humility and a fear that what you have made can be taken away from you just as fast. Survival must be the cornerstone of your strategy. Compounding only works if you can give an asset years to grow without being forced to sell during a crash or a personal emergency. You must be optimistic about the long term, but paranoid about the short-term obstacles that could prevent you from getting there. The lesson: arrange your financial life so that a single bad investment or a missed goal cannot wipe you out, allowing you to keep playing until the odds fall in your favor. Lesson 4. The Seductive Trap of Pessimism. Progress happens too slowly to notice, but setbacks happen too quickly to ignore. If you tell someone that everything will be great, they will call you a salesman. If you tell them they are in danger, they will clear their calendar to listen to you. Pessimism sounds smarter and more plausible because it appeals to our evolutionary instinct to treat threats as more urgent than opportunities. Real optimism is not the belief that everything will be fine. It is the belief that the odds of a good outcome are in your favor over time, even when the road is filled with misery. You must identify the price of success, which is volatility and fear, and be willing to pay it rather than viewing market drops as a fine for doing something wrong. The lesson: treat market volatility as an admission fee for long-term returns rather than a fine for a mistake. Conclusion: we are all victims of our own unique experiences. Your personal history with money makes up a tiny fraction of what has happened in the world, but it represents 80% of how you think the world works. This is why a person who grew up during the Great Depression sees risk in a way a tech worker from the 90s can never understand. No one is crazy. We are all just making decisions based on the limited information we have and the unique mental models we use to fill in the gaps. To understand why even the most brilliant people make disastrous financial choices, you have to look past the numbers and realize that the most powerful force in the economy is the story we tell ourselves.